Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Sai SATCHARITRA, an Insight. Episode 157. My humble prostrations at the lotus feet of our Sadguru Sai. By the divine grace of Sai, an attempt has been made to translate the gist of the divine discourse of Sri Ramanathan brother telecasted in Sai TV. This is purely done to share the glory of Sai and his divine teachings with more insight to the aspirants. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnuhu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Devotees, we will be heeding to the amazing Leelas of Sri Sai SATCHARITRA, chapter 28, and as always, Hemant Panji begins this chapter with spiritual philosophies, and he states, Mother gives the body, Father gives life. This is how birth takes place. And finally, death follows naturally. So, first birth occurs and then death follows. Like this, the cycle of birth and death keeps happening. Then, when are we to get released from this cycle, and what is the way out? Who decides when it should stop? Here is the answer. It is the Guru who can liberate a soul from the cycle of birth and death. When we say Mother gives the body and Father gives life, a sense of selfishness is attached to it as the process of birth takes place owing to their sense gratification. Whereas the Guru who releases us from this cycle of birth and death has no self-interest, and he bestows his grace based on his compassion. He is so benevolent that he directs us to the path of liberation. Hence, the Guru is regarded as the most superior to parents in this context, says Hemant Panji in his 4th OV in Sri Sai SATCHARITRA. So, we must have unrestrained devotion towards the Guru and surrender at his lotus feet. Sri Sadguru Sainath Maharaj has given varieties of instructions to many devotees in their dream, and there was an underlying motive behind each vision. To one, Sri Sai said, "Draw a trident." Another was asked to meditate. One was lashed severely. To someone, he appeared as a teacher and asked him to give out his orals on a subject. Then he sat on somebody's chest and pressed him with a pestle. To another, he made him promise that he would never drink alcohol. So there was always some reason behind every dream vision and instruction by Sri Sai to the devotee, says Hemant Panji. This chapter is very significant as it holds one of the greatest proclamations of Sri Sai in the 15th OV. It says, "My man can be in any place, even thousands of miles away. I will draw him to me with a string tied to his feet, like a sparrow fledgling." Generally, people think that, oh, I have planned my trip to Shirdi and I had Sri Sai Maharaj's darshan, but should hold in mind that everything has been planned by Sri Sai Baba in a very subtle way, because of which we had the greatest blessing to go to Shirdi. We might wonder if there was any necessity for Sri Sai Baba to pull us like that of a sparrow towards him. Devotees, we know that Sri Sai Baba is a spiritual guru, and it is one of the attributes of the spiritual guru to guide the souls, irrespective of caste, creed, and religion and lead all the souls to self-realization. This is one of the reasons why Sri Sai Baba named the masjid he stayed as Dwaraka Mai. Some Hindu devotees were under the notion that it denotes the abode of Lord Krishna, that is the Dwaraka. This could be one of the reasons, but when you write this word Dwaraka Mai in Sanskrit, it is written as Dwarka Mai, which denotes Dwar entrance, Ka of, and Mai is mother. So, the meaning of this word implies the characteristic of a mother that yearns for the safe return of the child that had gone out. With such earnest wish, Sri Sai Baba is waiting at the doorsteps for the return of these souls to his abode. He is desperately expecting us to go back to him. Hence, he is fastening the strings to our feet and pulls us towards him as that of the strings tied to the feet of a sparrow. He is sitting there eagerly looking at the doors of the Dwaraka Mai just to receive us, embrace us, and shower his choicest blessings. Such a benign God is Sri Sai Baba. Devotees, let us now begin to heed the Leelas experienced by the sparrows drawn to Shiradi. In Sri Sai SATCHARITRA, it is mentioned that Lala Lakshmi Chand met Hemat Panji and shared his experience with him, and the same was narrated by him in this chapter. So, this experience is penned down in the perspective of Lala Lakshmi Chand. But devotees, as mentioned in the previous episode, Shankar Rao Gavankar was also drawn to Shiradi along with Lala Lakshmi Chand and was blessed to experience the Leelas of Sri Sai Maharaj, which he has shared in Sai Leela magazine through his letter, and they are very interesting and we can listen to those also. Lala Lakshmi Chand was residing in Mumbai at Santa Cruz. He was initially serving in railways as a temporary employee, then took up the job at Venkateshwar Printers. This was not just a printing company, but they were also publishing books. Venkateshwar Printers were renowned publishers of many Sanskrit books. Then Lala Lakshmi Chand quit the job and switched to Raleigh Brothers. It's a global company and they were Greek merchants with their headquarters in Greece. They began their operations in India and the first branch office was at Mumbai. Then they expanded their business to various states such as Kolkata and Chennai. These Raleigh brothers dealt with packaged materials made from jute, and Lala Lakshmi Chand was working as a clerk. One day he dreamt of a sage with beard surrounded by many devotees. This dream also gave him solace and happiness. In few days, a kirtan was arranged at a devotee's house by named Dattatreya Manjunath Bijur, and the kirtan was to be performed by the most renowned kirtankar known as the great Haribhakta Kirtankar Dashganu Maharaj. The kirtan was to be performed on the life history of Tukaram Maharaj. A pleasant surprise was waiting for Lakshmi Chand at Dattatreya Manjunath's house. As we know, it is the regular practice of Dashganu Maharaj to always place the beautiful portrait of Sri Sai Baba, adorn it with a beautiful garland, offer an incense stick, then would commence the kirtan. This he would do irrespective of the topic of the kirtan to be performed. The moment Lakshmi Chand saw the picture of Sri Sai Maharaj, he was stunned as this coincided exactly to the image of the sadhu that appeared in his dream. He has never seen Sri Sai Baba's photograph, This was the first time he had the darshan of this most compassionate form of the Lord. Lala Lakshmi Chand was in horripilation, began to sweat. Loving tears flowed from his eyes profusely. Love for the god was gushing in his heart. His mind attained peace and divine joy permeated all over him. Dashkanu Maharaj's kirtan was entrancing. In his sweet voice, he was singing the life of Tukaram. This serene atmosphere added more joy and bliss to Lala Lakshmi Chand. He could no longer wait and immediately inquired about this sadhu in the photograph and found out that it was Shirdi Sainath Maharaj. An earnest desire aroused in his mind to instantly go and have darshan of Maharaj. But how to go? Where it is? Will anyone accompany me to Shirdi? Such questions began to crop in his mind. At this juncture, Shankar Rao Gavankar approached Lala Lakshmi Chand and asked if he would be willing to accompany him to Shirdi to have Sri Sai Baba's darshan, says Hemat Panji. There is a small variation in this view because as per Shankar Rao Gavankar, it was Lala Lakshmi Chand who asked him to accompany to Shirdi. Devotees, before discussing on the pilgrimage made by these two devotees to Shirdi, let's pause and listen to the Leela that pulled Shankar Rao Gavankar to Sri Sai Baba as related by him and then get back to this thread. Shankar Lal Gavankar resided in a place known as Vasai at Mumbai and was working as a clerk in the court at Vasai. He was always interested to read religious scriptures and life history of sages and saints. He has read Bhakta Vijayam, Sant Kathamrit, Sri Bhakta Leelamrit, and this gave him a great desire to have darshan of various saints since 1907. Miraculously, the moment he desires for darshan of a saint, he was bestowed the blessing. Always some devotee or the other would tell him that he is going for darshan of a saint and will ask if Shankar Rao Gavankar is willing to accompany. Thus, his yearning to visit that saint would get fulfilled. This kind of subtle blessing was showered upon him by the saints owing to his past good deeds. So, from the year 1907 till 1910, he had the greatest blessing to visit many saints. Once, to Mulund, a place in Thane district, Sri Narayan Maharaj from Kedgon made a visit. Narayan Maharaj was a very great saint, considered as an incarnation of Lord Dattatreya and was known far and wide as one of the perfect masters. Many devotees went for Narayan Maharaj's darshan and Shankar Rao Gavankar was one among them. Shankar Rao Gavankar felt extremely happy and blessed by the darshan of Narayan Maharaj. So, he shared the joy of this darshan with few of his friends. One of Shankar Rao Gavankar's friend by named Lala Madan Gopal was at Shimla and was working for the railways department. He was also very keen in having darshan of saints and sages. So Shankar Rao Gavankar wrote a letter to this friend sharing his experiences and the glory of Sri Narayan Maharaj. Madan Lal was very excited and wanted to have darshan of Narayan Maharaj. Thus, in his reply, he asked if they both can make a visit to Kedgon. Shankar Rao Gavankar was waiting for such a call, so he immediately gave his consent. Lala Madan Gopal decided to make this pilgrimage during Christmas holidays because they were employed in government service. Their holidays would also coincide and both would get few days of leave and it would be easy for them to go on this pilgrimage without any hassle. Vasi was situated on the north of Maharashtra, so Shankarrao Gavankar had to travel to a place known as Kalyan, which is in the south. From here, if they travel towards east, they can reach Kedgon. Hence, Lala Madan Gopal said to Shankarrao Gavankar to come to Kalyan, and he would reach to Kalyan from Shimla so that they both can meet there and travel to Kedgon to have darshan of Sri Narayan Maharaj. He also said he would take care of all the arrangements such as their stay at Kalyan, to and fro to Kedgon, and so on. Shankarrao Gavankar was immensely happy as he is getting another blessing to have darshan of Sri Narayan Maharaj. As per their plan, Shankarrao Gavankar applied for 7 days leave, which was also sanctioned immediately. And so he was getting ready to Kalyan. At this juncture, an unforeseen event took place. What was that? Did both the friends go for the darshan of Sri Narayan Maharaj? And how did they get to meet Lala Lakshmi Chand and go to Shirdi? All these interesting and unfathomable leelas can be listened in the coming episode. Bow to Sri Sai. Peace be to all. Om Sai Ram.